Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing okay and having a great day and an amazing week. My name is Effie and today we are back with Makeup and Mythology. This is the first Makeup and Mythology of 2022, so I'm very excited, and I've started with a start. So I looked into Norse mythology and I decided to do the creation of the cosmos story because new year, why not talk about a new world? As you may know, Norse mythology has been kind of popularised a little bit by Marvel and the inclusion of Thor and Loki. However, their stories, as always, are a little bit different in the original mythology stories, so I'm also going to be adding in a little bit of a who's who from Norse mythology, and I do include Thor and Loki as well as a few other characters from the Marvel franchise. So if you're interested in hearing their actual stories, that'll be after the creation story. This is the look I have created. I was using the Beautybay Age of Opulence palette. But as always, everything on my face will be linked in the description box in case you are interested. But other than that, if you like this video, please do give it a big thumbs up. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing. I put out makeup content every week, hopefully twice a week. And I put out a makeup and mythology video every 4 weeks. So if you're interested in any of that, then this is the place for you. Hit that subscribe button, it's free and it puts a big smile on my face. But if you're just here for the makeup and mythology content, then I have a playlist linked in my description box where you can find all the videos I've done so far. So if you're interested, just check that out. But other than that, I really hope you enjoy the video. Enjoy! Okay, so creation of the cosmos. And in Norse mythology, before this happened, there was nothingness. This was before there was soil or sky or ocean or anything like that. There was just a gaping abyss. And this gaping abyss in Norse mythology is known as Ginnungagap. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing these things right. As always, my pronunciation isn't great in these videos, so I apologise now if I pronounce anything wrong, so that I don't have to apologise every single time. And this is known as a chaos of perfect silence. There was absolute nothingness. And it lay between the homeland of the fire and the homeland of the ice. And these sort of sat the north and south, and in between them was Ginnungagap. And slowly over time, the fire and the frost slowly crept towards each other, and they very slowly came to meet in the middle. And as what normally happens when fire meets ice, the ice started to melt and the little droplets of water all came together and formed Ymir. And Ymir is the first of the godlike but very destructive giants. And now Ymir was able to reproduce completely by himself. And how this was done was one night Ymir fell asleep, and during the night he started to sweat, as some people do during hot nights. And from his sweat in his armpits and the back of his knees sprung forth more and more of these giants, which were the godlike creatures. So now there are loads of these giants, and the ice was still melting, and from the ice came a cow. And this cow would give her milk to Ymir to feed him and to give him sustenance, and in return she would enjoy the salt rock that was coming from the ice and things like that. And as she continued to lick the salt lick, she slowly uncovered Buri. Now, Buri was the first of the Aesir gods, and they're said to be more tribe-like. And Buri went on to have a son called Bor. And her son Bor married Bestla. Bestla was the daughter of one of the giants. And they went on to have some children. Now, these children were now half god and half giant. The most famous of the sons was Odin, and if you've watched Marvel and things like that, you will have heard of Odin, as he went on to become the chief of the Aesir gods. But she did also have 2 other children, and together the 3 brothers went on to slay Ymir. from Ymir's body they started to create the world. They fashioned the oceans from his blood, soil from his skin and muscles, vegetation from his hair, and clouds from his brain. Now his skull was used as the sky, but as they were building the world and things like that, worms started to come forth from his body as it was starting to decay. And these worms would turn into dwarfs. And Odin and his brothers were frightened that the sky was going to fall down onto the earth. So what they did was they ordered 4 of the dwarfs to hold up the skull as the sky. And so the 4 dwarfs set off in the different directions of north, east, south and west. And they then started to hold up Ymir's skull as the sky, and that is how we now have north, east, south and west. And eventually the gods even created the first 2 humans, and these were created out of tree trunks, and they created a man and a woman called Ask and Embla. And the gods even created a fence around where the humans would live. This was called Midgard, and the gods were going to live in Asgard, but the fence was to protect them from the giants. They gave humans everything that they needed, so mind, intelligence, speech, movement, and things like that. And there we go, so that is generally the story of how the cosmos came to be as according to Norse mythology. Now I'm just going to do a little bit of a sort of who's who of Norse mythology, just talking about the main gods that you might have already heard of through Marvel. So roughly the Norse gods can be split into 2 tribes. You've got Aesir, who were typically associated with war and chaos, and then you had Vanir, who were associated with fertility and nature. So first up we have Odin, who is the ruler of Asgard. Now like I said, Asgard is where the gods live, and typically we are referring to the Aesir gods. And Odin is considered the all-father of the Aesir gods. And he is famous for riding into battle on his 8-legged steed or horse, and for wielding his dwarf forged spear, and it is said that he never missed his target. That's another thing. So when they were building the earth and these dwarfs started appearing out of Aesir's body, obviously 4 of them went to go hold up the sky, but the rest of the dwarfs actually were said to become some of the best craftsmen, and quite a lot of the weapons that are mentioned in Norse mythology are said to be forged by the dwarfs. Odin is technically the god of wisdom, poetry and war, and it's a bit hard to pin down how many children he has, but it is said that he has at least 5 children by 4 different women. These gods, they get around, don't they? And talking of Odin's sons, we should probably talk about his most famous of all of his sons, which is Thor, and he is the god of thunder. And he is said to be the most physically strong in all of the Aesir gods. And he is said to have red hair, not blonde, a full beard and fierce eyes. I thought that was quite interesting reading it, because obviously Chris Hemsworth, as good looking as he is, does not have red hair or a full beard, I don't think, in the film. Not too sure. Maybe his eyes are quite fierce. It is said that he is quick to anger, but he is the protector of Asgard and Midgard. And he travels mainly by chariot, which is pulled by 2 goats, which I thought was an odd one. And of course, Thor's hammer was also forged by the dwarfs and is said to be the most powerful weapon in all of Norse mythology. And apparently it is capable of flattening mountains, which is unique for a hammer. The next Norse god I'm going to talk about is Frigg, and this is Odin's wife. And she is said to be the goddess of marriage, family and motherhood. And she is the mother of 2 of Odin's children. and she is said to rule Asgard as the queen, and she is the only other being able to sit in the throne. And on this throne you can sit and look out over all 9 realms. The next god I think is pronounced Tyr. It's Tyr, but the Y has an accent over it. And this god is said to be the original god of war. He is believed to be the bravest of the gods and has a strong sense of justice. And he is often referred to as the god of war and peace, and it is said that he is the person who decides whether or not you would win or lose a battle. It is said that he only has one hand, as he lost his other one in a very brave way, of course. His hand was bitten off by the wolf Fenrir because he placed his hand in Fenrir's mouth as a distraction so the other gods could tie him down, but when Fenrir realised it was a trap, he bit off the hand of the god. Clean off, no hand, there we go. One-handed and still apparently the bravest. The next god is Heimdall, and he is in the Marvel films, which is great. I actually really love him. He's played by Idris Elba, but I like his character. And he is the guardian of Bifrost. And this is the rainbow bridge that connects Midgard, where the humans live, and Asgard, where the gods live. And Heimdall is to blow his horn whenever there is imminent danger approaching. It's also said that his senses are so heightened that he can hear wool growing from a sheep and he can hear the grass growing from the ground. And he is able to see all the way to the ends of the earth in order to protect the gods. And the final god I'm going to talk about today is Loki. Now Loki is in the Thor films in Marvel. However, they kind of got his storyline a little bit wrong. He is the god of trickery. However, in the Marvel films, he is meant to be Thor's brother. I'm not going to give any spoilers or anything like that, but he is meant to be Thor's brother. However, that's not true according to Norse mythology. According to Norse mythology, he is actually Odin's blood brother, which would make him Thor's uncle. Like I said, he is the god of trickery and mischief. And he's also the father to the monsters. He actually sired the wolf Fenrir. He's also father to the goddess Hel. It's spelled H-E-L, so I'm not sure if it's actually pronounced the same, but he's her father. And she is the goddess who reigns over the dead. And he's actually not usually considered part of the Aesir gods just because they never know whether or not they can trust him. And because of everything that he's done, the Aesir can never really be sure of whether he's trying to help or hinder them. And there we go, that is the creation of the Cosmos story and a little bit of a who's who in the Norse mythology realm. This is the look. I still need to do lashes and mascara, so I will quickly do that off camera and we will come back and do final thoughts in just a moment. So there we go, that is the creation story of the cosmos according to Norse mythology and a bit of a who's who on a few of the Norse gods. This is the look. I'm loving it. I quite enjoyed doing a story that wasn't Greek, and personally I've never really looked into Norse mythology before. I know some people are going to yell at me for this, but I've only just started watching the Marvel films. My boyfriend's getting me to watch them and we've watched one Thor one so far and an Avengers film, so I quite enjoyed doing the Norse mythology now that I've seen who Thor and Loki are in the films. Let me know what you think of the story. Have you heard this story before? Do you know much about the Norse gods? I do plan on doing a couple of Norse stories at some point throughout the year, but I'm not sure when yet, so hopefully they'll be just as fun. If you like this video, please do give it a big thumbs up, and if you like my content, please consider subscribing. I put out makeup content every week and I do makeup and mythology videos every 4 weeks. If you're just here for the makeup and mythology content, I have a playlist just for you. It is all the videos I've done so far and I will leave it linked at the top of the description box so you can have a look at those if you are interested. But other than that, I'll let you go. Have a great day and an amazing week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.